Hi everyone. So maybe we can start with you, ladies. Can you introduce yourself, speak about your background, and share a couple of things that you want to share about your experience and Women in Tech?
So I'm Amanda Liu, the General Manager of OX Foundation. The company is established in 2017. Our goal is to build up, I think, a decentralized exchange platform to promote the decentralization for the digital asset, So far that we have, I think that since I'm on board, I think the goal is to build up the team and to make sure, I think that our project to be launched, I think, in the coming few months. Yeah.
Yes. Hi, good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me. And this is really my honor to have such amazing women and a gentleman on the same stage. My name is Sally Tong, and I'm the Managing Director of Dreams Better Venture. So I started Dreams Better Venture on 2017. It comes from a very personal senses of why I want to start the fund, because I really want to focusing impact investing in the early stage of startup, for example, like blockchain technology, fintech, in a deep sense of deep technology and sustainable startup that I'm really interested in. And in 2018, actually I have a passion for women, so I started for Women in Impact organization. The mission for that is to seek success for women to have education, connection, and collaboration. So right now, I'm really welcome for anyone who is interested to make an impact together. Thank you so much.
Hello, I'm Veronica. I'm a board member of Fintech Association of Hong Kong. As my background, I'm an operational consultant for investment banking industry for about 10 years. All along building collaboration between technology teams and operations team and different non-technology teams within the company in the financial industry. So how I started to be part of the fintech community, actually with Mehdi, together when the Fintech Association of Hong Kong was founded. I was very passionate about financial inclusion topic and truly believe that fintech is one of the solutions to achieve the goal of financial inclusion. And thereafter, there is other diversity topic such as women in tech that Mehdi and I also very actively participating in the community. So we do believe that in terms of sustainability, impact, inclusion on impact, it's a really big topic and where fintech has a big part to play.
And for myself, my name is Mehdi. I'm quite involved in the fintech industry and ecosystem here. So I jumped in that industry in 2015. And what I saw at that time, it was just we have 80% of men, 80% of Western, and 80% of people that more than 14 years old, and not enough women inside that community. So for more inclusion, I start to work with different group of women here, and we create different events in 2017, where we bring leadership around the table for breakfast, different drinks and different events sponsored by LinkedIn or other company like this. And we start Women in Tech like this. And now Women in Tech is more than 300 people, women, here in an association, and you can find the website on internet. It's Women in Tech in Hong Kong. .com or .io, something like this, and you can just subscribe to that website and be involved with the community. So, ladies, I would like to ask you some question about the impact of the woman in the banking and the tech industry ecosystem, and I would like to see with you, because we have that male-dominant industry, and I would like to see with you how you can you went to that industry, you make an impact there, and what are your advice for the youngest generation?
Yes, I think that for lots of the people will think that for the fintech industry is a male or man dominated, but I would not see this. I think that I will see a lot of women from I think in day to day, especially in our company and also in other occasions. And I'm glad that a lot of the fintech events and also exhibition, women in fintech or promote diversity is now the hot topics for a lot of people. I see that although the developers are mainly, I think, for the men, but I do see that the women play a crucial or integral part of a fintech industry. Like, I think that we working together, we need a lot of collaboration of the project to work closely together with the finance team and also the customer. So I think that woman can play a soft tune in between different roles. So I will see that maybe encourage more women to don't look at, I think that fintech is man dominated industry, but try, I think that to go back, to be proactive, to go to, I think to leave their comfort zone, to try to, I think, to understand the industry more. And I'm glad that the events, I think the organizer to have this opportunity to have us to promote the diversity.
Yeah, sure. I totally agree with Amanda, because actually one thing that I have found is that will be great that in the ecosystem that we can have more like mentor and mentee program, and to educate more like students in their high school to sort of like educate the mindset. I feel it's more about mindset, like I can do it. It is not just about boy or man. You know, we are all here to create something impact and great together. And on the other hand, I feel like diversity, inclusion is a very hot topic, but what is it really about diversity? Is it diversity in the way of like different gender, different industry that we can come together? That's the reason. Yesterday I went to a woman in Finance Asia in Element. I was so odd, or in a way of like a lot of women came together by in-law, women in shipping, women in finance, you know, they come together to have such a great collaboration. And then they have like a man saying, you know what, we want to be part of it. So I feel the ecosystem is bigger than what we think. And I feel like everyone here, actually, you can play a big part of not just, okay, I'm just sitting here to listen, but you can do something about it. For education, to help, you know, the people who is next to you saying, you know what, actually you can do it. I think everything is just a mindset. It's not about like, you know what, just about women in tech or women in impact or women in law. I feel it's more about like, we can do it much more better in a way of like creating a better ecosystem that, you know what, we can change our mindset and we can do it together. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. I think in the financial industry, in the Wall Street, it's a fact that it's you know, very male-dominated as an industry. But my piece of advice is that I truly believe that your behavior is driven by your mindset. If you believe that you are being part of not the most impactful segment in the population, then you will be those people. So basically, I am a person that is pretty unisex in most of the topics. I think equality and balanced and diversity is the way to go. And follow your own passion on the things that you're good at. And there's nothing really in 2019 that can hinder you to do anything. So if you carry the mindset with that you really want to achieve something, to do something out of your passion, basically, whether you're a man or woman, it really doesn't matter.
Thank you very much. Maybe we can start with you again, Veronica, for the next question. So you are working in a big French bank here. You are chief of staff of the operation side. And I would like to see with you, and maybe you can share with the public, how you can promote and nurture the woman in tech inside the bank, inside a big company like this, and how you can promote the woman careers there. Maybe you have something to share with us.
In general, basically there is a lot of practices that I think at the manager level we need to impose. So there are something that the company can do as a sort of like a policy to provoke. For example, there are a lot of companies in the industry that set quotas. There are different opinions towards those quotas, but I think from my view is maybe having a fixed quota may not be a very proper, because it will also discriminate the other group. But maybe on the entrance level, there are a lot of things that we can do. Not exactly within my company, but as a market practices. In terms of hiring technology teams, you can make sure that you see equal diversity of gender in your CVs, at least. so that you give equal opportunity to the gender diversity when you are looking for candidates. So those kind of things can be very easy to implement, especially in big organizations. If you want to touch on like policy, quotas, those kind of topics, it's actually very difficult because it will trigger a lot of discussion and approval and a lot of different opinions. But if you yourself as a manager, you can see very easy to implement this. You just need to talk to your recruiter and tell her, I really want to make sure that whenever there is a CV coming in, do your best to do one for men and one for women. And I don't want, when I hire a candidate for technology teams, I only see a male candidate. So I think these kind of small change is something that you can immediately do. And it's not even at the corporate level, but at the end of the day, it's a culture that I think everybody can start. So there would be some easy starts as a small steps, I would say.
Same question for you, Sally.
Oh, for me, actually, most of it I feel Veronica has already addressed. For me, I want to talk about one key point. It's about culture. How a leader actually can cultivate the right culture, what kind of value actually the company really care. I remember like last year, actually BlackRock, actually the CEO has written an email to all the shareholders about like, okay, actually what we are doing here, how we are going to use our organization and educate investor or educate even in our internal staff, how we are going to use our company to impact or to mention like purpose, like what is it for the organization, why we are existing here. The world is changing, the climate change, all of that, like, you know, whatever that you can think is not like a good news. Every day you are facing like a bad news. How we as a human being to say like, okay, how we are going to use our organization, how we are going to nurture or to pave a paveway for like leaders to sort of like having more space to cultivate for that part. And the other way is like, you mentioned about something about talent or HR, how we can also having a special training of like, okay, actually why we are doing the work that we are doing, what impact that actually we can contribute. I feel to build a value-driven culture is the way for today and the future.
Yeah, and to add on that point, I think it's really the people around to take initiatives to influence people. For example, the management team can raise the concern over, why we have an imbalance of gender diversity, and then they really talk about it. You don't actually need to touch on HR policy to implement change, really. Yeah.
And Yamanda?
Yeah, I think for maybe most of the point already covered by, I think, you two. But I would say that from the woman perspective, of course, even though the company, they do have the policy, they have the gender ratio, but as a woman, you need to also to take more proactive approach. So I think for most of the women, maybe quite, compared to men, maybe quite conservative. Even though they see that this is an opportunity, they will not raise up their hand unless it is, I think that the 10 bullet point is all checked. But I would say that as a woman nowadays, even though you get 3 checks out of 10, you need to raise up your hand and take this opportunity. Because I think for the men, most of are very aggressive compared to women. So we need to take this, I think that to be more proactive, more aggressive. I think this is, we need to be more competitive.
Oh, yeah, it's not true every time, because when a man is lost, every time he calls his mom and asks him where is the key, where are the socks, where are the pens. So yeah, I can agree with you, but in some time I can disagree. I would like to ask you, did you have a mentor or someone who advocates you the way you are right now, and why? And can you share that experience with us? Maybe we can start with you, Sally.
For me, actually, I don't have specific mentor. I feel it's much more difficult for me to assess so-called my ideal mentor. However, when I was small, I was daunted on, I feel, popularly I would say like more cheesy in a way, like people around me is my mentor because I came from very, very extremely humble background. So I see like how people working day in and day out. And I was learning of like to be working hard and working smart. And then even for the way that was like in trading and in fashion business and like in finance, I was like learning along the way from the people actually like me and dislike me. I feel they have a sense of like we want people to like us, and we also know that actually you cannot please everyone and not everyone like you. So I'm always learning in a way for the people who is around me, like or dislike me, what kind of learning that actually I am taking and what I can actually moving forward. So I don't have specific person in mind. I'm just learning from everyone day to day, people who I encounter.
We can maybe continue with you.
I think I'm rather lucky because I have a job that makes me engage to someone senior, every different senior every 3-4 months. And I don't have a really strong mindset of you or have a mentor that's assigned for you. I take every person that I can learn something from, sort of like a mentor, and just by chance, most of them, they are mostly older or pretty male-dominated because it's a financial industry. And I think that you need to really proactive to build your mentor network. I heard there's a saying that basically when you really want to highly operate yourself like a company, it's like every company have a board of directors, and you happen to be an individual, also need to have your board of individual directors behind you. And when you have every different kind of challenges in any different aspects of life, you have a choice to ask one of your board member behind you to solve your challenge. So basically that's how I think I operate in my last 10 years of career, and it works so well. So that could be a very close mentor that can start to talk about different problems like on investments, on making important decisions of real estate, buying houses, So it becomes very personal, and it's really up to you to decide who you're mentor to be. Yeah.
Amanda?
Yeah, I still remember when I was young, I think I also worked in the banks before, so we do have the mentor and I think mentorship. And every 6 months we'll change our mentor. But I'm lucky, most of my mentors are women. Yeah, and I think they share not only the job, I think what is the role, but also share their family. I think that this kind of the intimate conversation make me more comfortable to share my experience, my challenges with them, and they totally understand. And I will see that as if you are senior people, if you listen what your staff said, and in the end of the day, maybe as a town hall, I think he or she will speak my experience in front of the people. I found that means he treasure my conversation, he will listen and he will remember. This is very important, I think, from the mentor and mentorship.
Okay, cool. I have another question. So I understood all of you had a previous experience in a banking or different industry, and you moved to Fintech, and now you are a woman in Fintech. So maybe you can share with us what was the change in your careers, the most important moment that you have, and why you did that change. Maybe we can start with you, Amanda, for this one.
Yes, it is when I do the interview, I think in my company, I still remember, I have some reservation, and because I have been working in the banks for over 20 years, and I need to get out of my comfort zone and do a new industry. But I see that the energy, the people around me is very energetic, just like my 20 years ago. So that's why I have no reservation, and I would like to join this company. I think that's the reason I joined the Fintech. Every time the industry is very dynamic, and every day you will go for a new day because the industry is moving very fast and a lot of momentum here. So I will see that. That's why I joined here. I joined the Fintech.
Sally?
Yeah, for me, actually, I have been in entrepreneurship for many, many years. So I saw like having the experience of like how entrepreneur actually work. And I think in 2017, I was very curious of like how to deploy the capital to be more impactful to invest in a startup. So in 2017, I just went to like University of Berkeley. Okay, I want to get to know actually the structure and the system of it. And then when I was in the class, I was amazed. Almost like, I would say in relatively, like maybe 9 out of 10 is men. And I was not intimidated. I was like, wow, okay, so I feel I'm in the right space. How I'm going to encourage more women to join, to be like investing, and how I'm going to support more women to be saying, you know what, yeah, we can do it. We can be a founder. We can do something about it. So I feel that I have a journey of like self-discovery from the point of like, was being an entrepreneur and to the point of like interesting about finance, and then in a way of like 2017 after the program, after I get to know more about the VC venture capital system in US and in Asia, then I said, you know what, I want to encourage more women. Even though you feel like I don't know what is finance, I don't know what is technology, just join and see what is it. I feel fear is something. However, when you see like, you know what, tomorrow is our last day, then what is the game? You know, nothing to lose, but everything to gain. So that's the path of like how I was an entrepreneur and then to be in the venture capital. So this is how I started for like, okay, Dreams Matter Venture, because I feel dreams is very important. And how I was starting for Women Impact Organization, that I really want to have like more diverse women who say, you know what, we want to build a more healthy ecosystem together, no matter in the entrepreneurship circle, as well as so-called maybe angel investing or even venture capital. Thank you.
Yeah, my story starts from my volunteering experience for microfinance institutions in Philippines. So my background is a bank consultant, right? So I signed up a volunteer project for 4 months and helped microfinance institutions to improve their processes, optimize their operations. And from that point, actually by understanding the business model from a capital market investment banking background, you understand that in order to do this kind of micro flow business, basically technology is really an enabler. And I'm always trying to take a step back on, okay, since I have so much understanding on professionally financial operations, how does that work? And if I see that technology being the only solution to make a solution for these microfinance institutions who are usually serving the unbanked population, so what I can do, right? So with my limited access from Hong Kong, somehow I get in touch with the founding team of Fintech Association of Hong Kong, and then they decided to build different committees. So Fintech Association actually have different committees from RegTech, Wealth Tech, Big Data, AI, you know, all the buzzword that everybody care as a committee. And with my presence and some of the founding team of the committee, we decided to establish the Financial Inclusion and Literacy Committee to focus on events and advocacy work on educating the market what does fintech for financial inclusion means. So this is what the work that I can do in Hong Kong. And I actually started a company last year trying to look for building an experts community platform to help these kind of microfinance institutions to focus on digital transformation and management coaching, which is more my background. And all after that, basically, all the related experience will come, for example, in the company, because they found that I'm very passionate about the fintech technology and inclusion topics. Then they started to encourage me to take a lead on some kind of innovation, technology, or inclusion and cultural diversity topics for the company. So I think if you really have a passion and goal, and you really convince the people around you that you really believe on what you're doing, and everyone can feel it, and the opportunity will really come.
Okay, thank you very much. We have still a few minutes left, maybe 5 minutes. Maybe we can see with you guys if you have some questions for our speakers today.
All right. Yeah, I have a question. So I'm running a fund. I have 1 out of 40 partners is a woman. I would like to increase that. I would like to increase that. Only 1 out of 40 of my partners in my fund is a woman. So what are your top 3 advices how I can find a general partner in my fund?
Yeah, actually, I find it actually because I would say maybe just do it in a fun way. You know, organize a dinner, organize a coffee. You know what? Because you cannot just like take someone or send. You know, very standard one is like send a message in LinkedIn and saying like, you know what, I want to have so and so, so and so, but it doesn't work. It's more of like working in referral, you know, like, you know what, okay, I know somebody, she's doing that, will you be interesting for that? Because I feel a lot of cases right now is very subjective. It's really my personal experience of like, actually a lot of GP has a so-called a little challenge to invite LP because the scene right now, I feel is in the process of transformation. So for me, my advice, I don't have like 3 advice, but I have an advice of like, to get to know, okay, what is the female investor interest about? Is it really just interest about impact, or actually is interest about technology? To be more like narrowing down of like, okay, what is their interest? To engage them instead of like, okay, you know, we just want to have like a female LP, or we just want to have like a female general partner. So you know what, the fund may be in a way of committee or whatever that will be more diverse. I feel it's more of like getting down of like maybe make a very simple survey of like, okay, what their interest is, it really like their interest about just investing in retail. I feel fund in a way of like specifically what kind of thesis that actually the fund is investing to attract the LP or even a venture partner to say, you know what, I'm interested of like what actually the fund is investing, what is the value or mission of it? Because I feel at the millennial is more interesting about diversity, inclusion, impact, purpose. So actually the attraction is more about that. So when you create that attraction, I feel it's much more easy to even to pitch or to say, you know what, we have a fund, we invest in that. What is your idea of it? I feel this is the way how I feel. So, but it is very personal and very subjective. I might be wrong. Thank you.
My very short advice, 101, is that you need to, regardless of man or woman, be very clear about your criteria and why you want that person in your management team, because what you're hiring a senior hire, so you need to make sure that what kind of skills and profile and things that you're looking for. And then on actions, talk to us in Women in Tech community.
I think we have time for one last question. Yeah, please.
Okay. My name is Heidi. I'm working for ANX1. I'm also working for male-dominated environment, and a lot of good education. A lot of male colleagues are trying to help the female colleagues and try to work together, but it's pretty sad fact that still there is some kind of discrimination against women, and also sometimes they don't realize it, they're actually discriminating it. And I want to hear your experience, if there's any cases happen to your work environment and how you overcome these kind of situations.
Maybe in 30 seconds for each of you.
Yeah, I'm lucky I don't have this kind of experience, I think, for this kind of the unfair treatment. But I remember maybe long time ago when I'm still, I think, graduate. So maybe some of the senior person, they are quite old-fashioned. They may have see the power or to try to not very polite, I think, that to the graduate. So I just stand firm and no need to argue with them. Just they stand firm and repeat it and reiterate it. I think that what you want to achieve and what I think the rationale behind. Maybe also I think get other colleagues to talk to them and help them to understand what is, I think, your reason coming by, and then maybe I think that's I think more direct communication is more important.
Sally, Veronica, in really short answers.
I feel it's come down to management team. It's difficult to be down to up. It's more of up to down. So I feel for me, it's more of like checking what kind of company that actually you are in when you are aspiring to be in the part of the company.
Don't take it personally. As you said, it's the behavior and it's very hard to change. Ask for help, seek for advices, and let others help you on this situation as well. Build your own community for your board of directors.
Perfect. Thank you very much for your experience and your sharing with the public. And please help me to applaud them because they give them a time.